Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you're here. I'm actually on turn 6 of Victory in the Pacific, and this is where the Allies are going to get a lot of help. So this is the game right here, and just stand that right up right there, stay. All right. So if you've been watching along, I've been sort of struggling along. This is, I'm still relatively new and I'm playing a very experienced player, so it's been quite a learning game. For all of those who've made comments and offer advice, I really appreciate that. That definitely is something I'm looking at and analyzing now, which is kind of a nice thing about doing these videos, that you get to analyze what you did and actually learn quite a bit more than you did when you actually played. So we'll get right into it. If you haven't yet, please do hit the subscribe button there. That helps out the channel quite a bit. And the like button also brings the channel up in other feeds. If you know, a lot of people like the video. So please do hit that like button. I really appreciate it when you do. And let's take a quick look at the board as to the basing from last turn, and then we'll get into the patrols. Okay, so here's their basing. The Imperial Japanese Navy, they have all of their aircraft, Marine here, and one cruiser. They have most of the ships are in truck here, some in Central Pacific Ocean, and one up here in the Dutch harbor here up at the top. The Allies, they have a little bit of British left over here. They have most of their aircraft and a couple Marines down here. They have a lot of cruisers and battleships here. Some more battleships, an aircraft carrier, and some cruisers there. And then a lot of aircraft carriers, some cruisers, and some battleships down here, and an extra Marine there. So let's see what the Allied player can do with all this hardware down here. Let's look at the patrols for the Japanese player. Here are the Imperial Japanese Navy patrollers. He brought a cruiser up here in the Japanese island to protect that because I can't get there. He brought two cruisers into the Mariana Islands here, and I can't really reach, well, I can reach that one through South Pacific here. Aleutians has one cruiser, flip this one to the Raider. All of the ships that were docked here or based here in Central Pacific are here. He also brought all of his cruisers here. The 127s are all here, the whole stack. And then the rest are Raiders right here, getting ready to go out and wreak havoc. So let's see how I respond with my patrollers. Okay, so my patrollers, now that I look at it later on, but back then I thought I was doing good. I have 3 cruisers here of the British. Here I have 2 of my battleships. Now I changed out these battleships. I actually think I had 444s up here. They were actually 443s. They were supposed to be there. 2 of the Australian cruisers went in here. The Washington and South Dakota are waiting for speed rolls, as is the California. I have the Boston and Northampton here, 127 and 117. And then I have a Baltimore and Quincy here, 127 and 117. And the rest I made Raiders. Now I think I should have done a lot more in the way of patrollers on this move, looking back, but that is what I did. So after the speed roll, I had the South Dakota made it in as a patroller. This had to flip, the Washington had to flip to become a Raider, did not make its speed roll. And the California also did not make its speed roll, so it flipped to become a Raider. So those are my patrollers. Now, willing to hear any comments that you have about my move as far as patrollers go. Please do leave them below. But I'm sure all of you will say it was weak, and I tend to agree with that right now. So let's see where the land-based air go. So to save time, my opponent played all of his land-based air. He placed 2 of them over here in Indonesia because we're playing by email. He placed one, the 3 damage one, in the Marianas. He placed nothing in South Pacific. He placed the 2 damage in the Marshalls, and he placed the 1 damage in North Pacific Ocean there. So that was all of his aircraft laid out there. And then on my turn, I placed 3 aircraft in the Coral Sea. Placed 3 aircraft in the Mandates. Placed 3 aircraft in Hawaiian Islands, and I placed another one up here in the Bay of Bengal just to prevent him from coming on over with some raiders and attacking these guys over here, especially with aircraft carriers. Indian Ocean, I left wide open. There's no points for me. He might come over there. Well, now he just can't come over there to take the points because he doesn't have any more patrollers, so he can't get the points there either. So I just left that alone. Let's see where we placed our Marines. Okay, so our Marine placement. First we had Kure, was left up in the Japanese island. Yokosuka was left here to reinforce Midway. Didn't want anybody coming into Midway, that's for sure. He's definitely guarding Midway. And then Sasebo is here in the Aleutians. Then he's the 3 damaged one there. So he's here in the Aleutians. In response to that, I put my 3rd and 2nd Marines here in South Pacific. And in the Marshall Islands, I put my 4th Marines here. So my hope is to get, one of these islands here so I can bring people in the South Pacific or bring aircraft in the South Pacific and Indonesia. So let's move on to raiders. Okay, so my opponent kind of shocked me on this particular move here. He placed all of his raiders in Central Pacific with the exception of 1 aircraft carrier down here into Marshall Islands to help out with the air float. I think the whole purpose here is to go ahead and kill those Marines is the idea. So, I would have to go against the flag, so he'd get a +2 because he'd ask for day. He'd get a +2, I'd get a nothing on the roll, and try to get night out of here so that he couldn't shoot at my guy there. So that's his idea there, to prevent them from invading either one of these islands. He pretty much gave up South Pacific. Sometimes it's just difficult to defend, especially late in a game like this. So let's see how intelligently or unintelligently I responded to that. Okay, so my response was I sent some raiders up here into the Aleutians. I have 2 cruisers and an aircraft carrier to take out this Marine, hopefully, and the ship here. In the North Pacific, I sent 2 more aircraft carriers up there to try and get rid of this air float. Hopefully that works. I probably should have sent more. Don't know why I didn't. I didn't show you this last time, but I'm actually repairing the Tennessee over here in Pearl Harbor. So that's being repaired. I put 3 aircraft carriers, 3 battleships, 3 battleships with attack bonus, and then 2 battleships, 2 other battleships here to help out with the 2 cruisers here in the Marshalls. I threw everything over here into the South Pacific. Now, what my thinking was, I'm not sure. I don't know why I left this completely alone. Not sure, but can't remember what my thinking was. But I should have threw some aircraft carrier if I had them up here. But I don't think they could have. They couldn't have reached there. So I was probably setting up for next turn. I did put all of these cruisers here and aircraft carrier in the Marshall Island or Mariana Islands. I'm sorry. Hopefully to do some damage there. And I have 1 speed roll to do right here. Okay, so my opponent dropped his I-boat right there. Now, maybe some of you caught that on the last one here, but I actually goofed up right here when I made this move. I brought these raiders here, which they can make it there, but they can't make it there through a Japanese territory. So the Bella Woods ended up going over into the Marshalls, and the Wichita and Vincent I corrected to go over into those areas there. So we picked our day-night action. We had day. My opponent wanted day. I wanted night in Indonesia. My opponent wanted night here. I wanted a day action here. So I could try and, because the whole idea is to get rid of this, and if I can't get rid of this, then it doesn't matter. Nothing here. My opponent wanted day action. I wanted night action in the Marshalls. And we both wanted day action here in North Pacific. Okay, so after the roll, we ended up with a day action here in Indonesia. And then in the Marshalls, we ended up with a day-night action here. So we got both of them there. We ended up with a day battle here in the Marianas. And then we end up with a day action here. And that is it. So we have battles in the North Pacific, the Marshalls, Marianas, and Indonesia. He gets to shoot at my cruisers there. So after battle, North Pacific, my opponent did nothing. So the first day action here in the Marshalls, my opponent did manage to disable my Marines, which goofed that all up, and put a disable on the Bellawood here. So that was a key factor right there, which is what he wanted, of course. In the Marianas, he was able to sink the Saratoga. So a nice shot there for that one. That was a wonderful hit for him. And over here in Indonesia, he was able to sink one of my cruisers. Let's see what my return fire did. Okay, so my return battle, I couldn't do anything in Indonesia. In the Marianas, the Saratoga was not able to damage the airfloat, which is kind of disastrous for me. In the Marshalls, I concentrated all of the aircraft carrier onto the airfloat, so I made sure that I sunk that because I wasn't worried about this ship here because I'll be able to attack it with everything on the night. In North Pacific, I did manage to sink the airfloat, so that was a good thing. In the night action in the Marshalls, I was able to sink the aircraft carrier. And in the Marianas, the I-boat got a disable on the North Carolina. On POC and flags, the U.S. or allies held the Bay of Bengal. Indian Ocean went to nobody. Indonesia was firmly controlled by the Imperial Japanese Navy. Marshall Islands remained in control of the Imperial Japanese Navy because I had to retreat out of here because my aircraft carrier was shut down. Indonesia came under U.S. control. Coral Sea, U.S. control. U.S. mandates, U.S. control. Marshall Islands flips to U.S. or Allied control. Central Pacific, Imperial Japanese control that. Hawaiian Islands, U.S. controls that. Japanese Islands, Imperial Japanese Navy. Aleutian Islands, Imperial Japanese Navy. And North Pacific, that flips to U.S. control. Let's check out the basing. I forgot to point out that the 3rd Marines actually invaded Laos here. So that flips this, which allows me to go to Indonesia and South Pacific now. And this guy will come back on turn 8. Okay, so the Imperial Japanese Navy got 4 aircraft carriers as reinforcements. He brought 1 aircraft carrier up here in Japan. Sasebo, also back up in Japan. 4 cruisers here. The I-boat gets taken out. And also my boat will be coming in. 3 of his aircraft are based up here, and he has 4 of his slower cruisers here. Put 3 of his faster cruisers here, a Marine here, an aircraft carrier, and a battleship there. And oops, sorry, that actually should go up here. And then he also got 1 aircraft back here this turn. All the rest of the ships and other ships, including Kuro, went to truck here. So they're all there. So let's see about my basing. Okay, for my rebasing, I just put all of the units that came in for turn 7 on over into Pearl, including the newly repaired Tennessee. So that's over there. Down in Samoa, I have my 4th Marine here. I have 2 battleships here, and then I have another 4 there. I have 3 2 attack aircraft carriers here. And then I have cruisers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 117 cruisers there. All of my aircraft is in Australia. My F-boat is there also. Everything else is based in Laos. So that's the basing, and we're set up for, oh, and of course my British are up here, which no place else they can be. I didn't do much damage to my opponent as far as reducing the numbers down, so hopefully I will do that next turn. And then turn number 8, I'm going to have to take the whole board. So that's where we sit. Okay, I think I should have been a ton more aggressive that turn rather than waiting for the last 2 turns to finish this up. But I'm still in pretty good shape, and my opponent is in pretty good shape too. He has a lot of ships left. So one of the things I learned is that I need to really be aggressive turns 5, 6, and 7, and hopefully take over most of the board. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for sticking around this long, and please do like and subscribe again. I will be finishing up this relatively soon. Sorry for the delay between times. Things happened and I couldn't get back to the game, but I will be finishing up. So hopefully you'll be around for turn number 7. Thanks for watching.